Hello everyone, it's Scott and welcome back to another episode of Feed the Beast Infinity Valve Skyblock Expert Mode. So in between episodes, I have made a octactic capacitor. And these can be used to speed up the Ender IO machines. And it can be placed in this slot here. And essentially it would, I think a single layer increases the speed by 2 times and then 4 times and 8 times. Thus the oct in the octadic capacitor. So let's throw that in to the smelter, or to the alloy smelter, and you can see that it takes a big hit to the RF storage capacity. Well, actually increase the RF storage capacity, so that's a lot more RF this machine can hold, and it's actually going to work faster and do more things in less time, and that's the only way to upgrade the Ender IO machines. And so that and the sag mill are two things that are going to take the capacitor. And the way that I got that is by running through the this chain here, where I had to get an Ender electron tube, which meant I needed to figure out how to get Endstone. Eyes of Enders I already got, but so as I was going through, I saw, hey, there's a formula here for lava plus glowstone equals Endstone, and I have a tremendous amount of lava now, so I'm more than willing to sacrifice glowstone for Endstone. And unfortunately, I needed to make more thermionic fabricators because these guys have a locked formula. So if I'm going to go in and create a formula for this, each machine has to be dedicated, because I can't dynamically switch the formulas. So I'm just going to have to run through this as many different formulas as I need. In this case, I'm going to need to make a blaze powder. So let's do... Oh, let's not do that yet, because I need to key in the formula in a logistics pipe. So 2 of these plus 5 of the blaze. Now I can make my blaze tubes. So let's let that charge up just a little bit. And bam, there's my 4 blazing electron tubes. So let's throw that in here with 4 right clicks, and then head back up and get back to the next formula here. So I was making, well, thermionic fabricators. In order to do that, I needed the... Oops, let me grab that. So I found that I needed the blazing electron tubes in order to make regular capacitors. And so before I can make another octadic capacitor, so now I should have everything I need to request one more. There we go. Okay, so I'll keep a couple of those in reserve, so that way when I'm ready to do some advanced machinery, I'll have them. Over here in the UU matter area, this is still ripping along, and I am up to 6,900 buckets. So probably by the end of this episode, I will have everything I need to make my Iridium Ore, which is awesome. And over here, I've been just working down the fuel rods. I have some mocks in the mix. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is, quad fuel mocks. And so these have twice the burn rate of a quad fuel uranium. So yeah, so that's going to work out pretty well for me. As you can see, it's generating quite a bit of power, and that's what's helping the mass fabricator make the UU matter. So down here, I ended up upgrading with capacitors. So I just have a whole string of the middle tier capacitors, which give me 95 million storage capability. Sound mufflers, yeah, so all these machines are incredibly loud, and I've been having to reduce the sound volume in post-production so that way I can actually hear myself. And so the sound muffler is a extra utilities block that actually locally, I think within 8 or so blocks, prevents the player from hearing any sounds in the area. So that's working out pretty well. The steam boiler's up to 630 degrees Celsius. It seems to be locked in at this middle point. Biofuel is still doing good, and so I upgraded all of these to the tier 2, the level 2 augments, and so that's working out pretty well. And as you can see, I also added another 4 fluctuating or enervation dynamos and upgraded those guys too. And so with that, I'm getting an extra 1500 RF per tick, and yeah, so that's working out really well. So up here in my water pool, I've been working on making another 2 stacks of Certus Quartz seeds. So I'm up to 91% so far in their growth. So I'm going to check back on that in a bit. But as I get closer to AE2, there's a couple things I can make as a precursor. Alright, so 2 of the things I'm going to need right off the bat are the charger and the inscriber. So with that, these are 2 things that I do not need the Certus Quartz Wrench to start working on. So I'm going to need another resonant machine frame. I've made the pure Certus Quartz crystals already, though in small quantities, and I know how to make overclockers. So this Inscriber is not going to be difficult at all. Likewise, the charger is just going to require Fluix crystals and iron, and if I check, the Fluix crystals should be charged Certus quartz, nether quartz, and redstone dust in a puddle. So let's head back over to the grinding storage area and pick out each of those. So I've been storing up charged Certus quartz. So here we see I have 348 of them. So let's grab a stack of that, a stack of redstone, and a stack of nether quartz. And so let's just head up here and drop all 3 of them into a body of water. So 1, 2, 3. And that's going to just, yeah, multiply together. And so if I get close enough, now I have 2 stacks of our Fluix crystals. So that's more than enough for us to get started. So let's take a look, load some of this into the storage system, and let's make ourselves a charger. Done. Now, unfortunately, the charger, well, actually, I think the charger may run on RF power. We can easily test this in a second. And so the inscriber then, let's see, let's set up another machine frame, or let's get that going. So the refined dense refined plate, so let's request one of those. And let's figure out where I can put the charger for now. So let's load it here on the end. Yes, contains 1.5 kilo AE. So the okay, though I do remember there are some pretty weird caveats with the way that this guy is going to operate. So let me grab some piping. Let's grab some power cable. I have plenty of servos, item ducts. Yep, I have those. And let's grab ourselves a chest just to act as the buffer here. Great, and here's our dense refined iron plate. Whoops. Grab that chest. And let's drop the plate in the assembly table and get our machine frame resonant. Whoops. Oh, I know I'm missing. I'm missing the golden circuit board. So let me take care of that. Okay, so it looks like I had some already waiting for me here in the carpenter block. So let's head back up and load that into the assembly table. Bink. And I'm still missing something. Emerald chipsets, of course. So let's grab some of those out of the bottom, load those in, and Iridium gears. So let's request one of those from the machine. Alright, now that I have my Iridium gear, let's throw that into the assembly table and finally get the machine frame up and running. Excellent. So let's head downstairs and start working with the charger. So what I'm going to do is use this chest and load in some regular Certus Quartz seeds. And what I'd like to do is set up some item duct piping here. So I'm going to place the charger on top of the pipe. I'm going to load in here. I just want to see if this will load in from the side. If not, whitelist. No. Okay, so let's try loading it in from the top. Yep, there we go. Okay, and disconnect that. So what I need to do then is load in some power piping. So let's break through the floor here, as I tend to do. So let's find the pick. And one thing I found with the electric jetpack is that if I hold space and then hit the M key, it puts me into hover mode, which then means that I can kind of stay still here, which is pretty cool because then that lets me work on some extended projects where I might I don't need to keep tapping the space button over and over and over. And hello. Okay, so this is not going to work. Okay, so I think what was different about last time? Let's see. I think that I was powering this from below, wasn't I? Okay, so let's put the power okay, so the power cable does hook up underneath, and okay, a little bit of electricity, and okay. So let's refactor this, because I need to have an extract and a release. So let's try. Let's move the chest up here. Though, yeah, that'll work out in the long run. So let's put same kind of thing. Ignore whitelist to Certus Quartz, and then as a return channel, we'll pull it out of the side, and so anything goes here, and so that should pull out a finished charged Certus Quartz and place it here back in the chest. And so now that I've done that, I can set up the automation for hooking it into the logistics. I'll just grab one of these logistics pipes and set it up that one. Actually, let me grab some of these. So I'll set it up so that one Certus Quartz crystal produces one charged Certus Quartz, and yeah, so that's all it's going to take to charge more on demand. Alright, let's check in on the assembly table. So it looks like I've gotten both the machine frame and my machine frame resonant complete. So let's move, actually while I'm here, let's just grab some more of the redstone chipsets and load all that back into the system. And as a result, what I'd like to do is put the machine frame resonant here. And that should be everything I need, well, except for the sticky pistons. Yep, 2 sticky pistons. So let's get our pistons, let's get our slime. Okay, so my slime levels are getting a little low, but not terrible. I'll just have to turn on the mob farm again. So let's grab that, place that in the holding area, and that should be everything I need to finally produce an Applied Energistics Inscriber. Awesome. So what I need next is, I think there's a couple pieces I'm going to need to get going with the chipsets, and let's see if I can get back into the Inscriber formulas. So those are going to all be presses. So let's take a look here under the Applied Energistics Inscriber calculation press, engineering press, logic, and there should be a fourth one for silicon. Yes. So each of these, let's take a look at how I can make them. So let's take a look. Okay, so I'm going to need a block of iron and a silicon and rolling machine. I'm going to need, are all these rolling machine formulas? Yes. Okay, so a block of iron and everything to get each of the 4 patterns. I'm going to need, actually, 4 patterns. So the big thing is really going to be the silicon, which I can make in a sag mill by burning down sand. So I was thinking of getting a second sag mill, which it's not terribly difficult. I just need the machine chassis, which is why I made the second machine frame basic here. So let's let these formulas roll in. Yep, got our machine frame, and bing, bing, bing. Oh, there we go, the pistons. Okay, so here's an additional sag mill that I'm going to probably hook up down by the sand feed, so that way I don't have to run too many more routes. So the sand feed is over here, of which I have 473 double compressed, so that's a lot of sand. Though, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna duplicate all this logic here. The sag mill here is working perfectly fine. Though, oh, okay, so it looks like things are backing up, unfortunately. Is it this servo? Yeah, this servo can't keep up now that I put a capacitor in there. So, so that's definitely limiting the ability of the machines to work. The pulverizer could probably, yeah, I could use some augments too. I haven't really revisited these guys in a long time, and one thing I'm definitely thinking about is making a crusher block. I'm sorry, what was it called? Let's see, if the sieves are all under X asterisk. So let's take a look. X asterisk. It's this guy. The automatic hammer is basically like the hammer, and so it can break down cobble into gravel, into sand, into dust, but using RF power. And it's not that difficult now that I've got all this automation around me. So I could probably set up another feed and move everything down here. Why don't I take a quick cut and see if I can manage that. Alright, got it working. So I ended up running the transfer pipe down from above down to the machine level. It's feeding sand into the sag mill, which is pushing material into the cache. So at this point, what I'm going to do is load up the inscriber here, and that's going to take in power. And I'm going to load in the silicon through item ducts on the side. So let's get that going with a whitelist, and that should populate the silicon here in the center channel. Awesome. So heading back up, let's find the rolling machine, and let's load up all of our different formulas. So let's do a diamond and grab ourselves an engineering press. Okay, then a gold will give us the logic press. Okay, silicon will give us the silicon press. And then last but not least, the nether quartz will give us the calculation press. Awesome. There we go. Okay, so let's head downstairs and throw this into the inscriber. Bam. And so it should consume RF power, and with every cycle produce a printed silicon. Awesome. And so I can pipe these out into another chest, which I will do shortly. And do I have any chest? No, of course not. I don't have any chests. So let's grab one more and set this up for a while. Because I think I'm getting pretty darn close in my UU matter, which means I'm going to have just a replication fest shortly. Let me just hook this up. Done. Okay, so the piping will, okay, there, it's pulling it out of the side and faster than it can create them. So with that, I now have the printed silicon that I'm going to need to make all of the core processors that I need for Applied Energistics. Alright, let's check in on the UU matter levels, and 7,632. Almost there. Okay, so within the last 50, so I'm going to call this a success. So at this point, let's figure out what we need to do to start tapping the UU matter and activate the replicator process. So this is going to need just a metric ton of energy, and so I've been carrying around the rest of the glass cable over here for a while. So let's grab the glass fiber cable, and so let's hook that up to the reactors just as a straightaway. See if that will work by itself. So let's start disconnecting this. Okay. So it's still pulling in. Oh, actually, it's working quite fine just from the HV wire feed. So let's take a look and turn on repeat runs. Okay, so that's ticking along at an okay speed. So let's see about what happens if we can add more. What was that set up before? I had an MV wire level cable here before. Let's just try hooking that up again to the side and see if that has any benefit whatsoever. I'm thinking not. MVs are so low powered. I really should be surrounding this with... Yeah, I don't see any movement there relative to HV. So let me try swapping out with HV wire and see what happens. Alright, this is pretty hilarious. So what I ended up doing is making two HV wire connectors and moving the glass cable to the back side of the replicator block. And so you can see how slow this is moving under just this normal hookup. And the capacitor bank is actually working okay. But watch what happens when I throw in overclockers. This thing is just like ridiculous. So let's throw in 6. So now you can see how fast this is spinning and burning down material. So what I'd like to do is basically just let this run for a while at an accelerated speed. I have a lot of energy for it to tap, so I'm not really worried about that with 89 million RF stored here, plus another 24 here. So yeah, let me just let this run down, and I should have. Yeah, I'm up to 11 Iridium Ore already. Awesome. So let's just let this process. All right. Well, I'm coming up on the end of the UU matter conversion. So what I ended up doing was knocking out the piping and putting in yet another wire connector. I transferred all of the transformer upgrades over here, and that seemed to be enough to give me a little extra few millibuckets per second. And so that, yeah, so there we go. We are done. And so that should create the 64 Iridium Ore. Done. Done. Oh, one extra. Awesome. Okay. So 64 Iridium Ore. And in the meantime, it's also made another 125 millibuckets there. So let's grab the formula for the Certus Quartz Wrench. Awesome. So this is going to need 2 pieces of enriched samarium alloy. Each alloy is 4 pieces of enriched samarium plus the center alloy. The iridium is going to require, well, this guy, iridium reinforced plate. So let's load this up just right here. And so 64 of these means that I'm going to need 16 of these. And what am I missing? I'm missing Iridium Ore. Okay, so it doesn't like that that's outside the system. So let's do that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, and all that's going to queue up. Excellent. And while that is going, is there anything else? Why do I have meat? I've had these meat tanks here for forever. Okay. So all those are rolling in. I'm going to have to wait for the advanced alloys to roll in. So that's going to be a little bit of a while. So why don't I touch back when that is done. Okay, that should be it. 64 of the advanced alloys, 64 Iridium Ore. So let's go to the Iridium reinforced plates, and done. Okay, so let's start making those. 16 Iridium reinforced plates. So with that, Certus Quartz. Enriched samarium alloy. So let's make a bunch of these with our samarium. Oh, let me grab the last of these out of here. So these become samarium pieces. The samarium pieces are surrounded by the reinforced plate. Bink, bink, bink. Samarium alloy 2. Then the alloy gets surrounded by the enriched. Oops, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that should give us 1, 2 of the enriched samarium alloy. And then with that, that gets us the Certus Quartz Wrench. Awesome. Yep. Okay, so that was a lot of crafting, and fortunately it also means that I'm unlocked the ability to make it a Applied Energistics storage system, and that is what I'm going to be doing in next episode right away. Okay, so if you could, please leave a comment or a like. Let me know how I'm doing, and I will see you next time in Feed the Beast Infinity Evolve Skyblock Expert Mode. Bye!